Postmark, Mr. Garrett Lark, San Francisco, California. Recipient, Miss Martha Lewis, care of Chinookville Post Office.
My dearest Martha, I have good news at last. As you know, the past year has been successful, and the hotel's assets continue to climb. Mr. Sterling's investment has returned fivefold, and I have almost saved enough to repay the final few hundred, which means Josiah and I will be home by Christmas. Will it be strange, do you think, coming home after so many years? I worry about my brothers most. You say there will be open arms, but I wonder if those arms are only open to strangle me more fully. Your letters assured forgiveness. Then why is my soul so uneasy? I still remember the night we sat together by the trail fire. You let me kiss your hand goodnight, and you can't imagine the conflict it caused me. Back then, I wouldn't have admitted all the things I've written down, and I doubt you'd have liked me much if you heard them in person either. This paper gives me a chance to lay it out right. So, here's the truth we have resisted. I love you, Martha. I know you have doubts, and you'd rather I not admit it, but 6 years of reflection is a long time. After chasing too much and finding too little, there's only one thing I want, and that's you. If you don't feel the same, all I ask is you not tell me in a letter. I probably wouldn't come home, and for the first time, I think I want to. I ask only that you consider it. 8 more months, and we can decide everything then. Yours, Garrett.
Martha tucked Garrett's letter into her apron pocket, turned her eyes upon the dusty blue Pacific Northwest waves, and once again questioned the good Lord's many graces. May they delight and confuse her forevermore. After all these many years of correspondence, Garrett Lark had finally admitted he loved her. Garrett, the man who was all wrong for her and she for him. 6 years ago, their friendship would never have had a chance to blossom, and now, here they were, considering forever. Heaven help her, but the good Lord's will had never been more complicated. For a former plantation slave and a former plantation son in a country fiercely divided by race, it was a situation most precarious and insensible. For as many reasons as she told herself to remain distant, another several dozen encouraged her to fall headlong into the void. Garrett had never seemed to mind her skin's deep copper hue. To him, their friendship was like one of her mama's hymns, the same melody played in 2 separate keys. If only the entire world could sing such a song. She inhaled the salty sea air and released her breath. Sand gritted her bare toes from upon the blanket where she sat, but her present company was enough to calm her anxious mind. One of her dearest friends, Coraline, shared the space on this Sunday afternoon, her nearly 2-year-old son, James, secure in her lap. The toddler threaded spruce-carved beads onto a piece of braided twine, laughing as he upended the finished creation, and let the beads fall back into his lap. Several paces down the shore, Coraline's 4-year-old niece, Julep, played with one of her Chinook friends, 9-year-old Teleuk, and her cousin Philip, Sarah and Tobias's son, who was also 4. The town of Larksong continued to expand with their ever-burgeoning families, and thankfully little of the trouble from years past. Compared to all Martha had left behind on Walcott Plantation and the Charleston Plantation before that, there was little here to be ungrateful for. Thank goodness for little miracles. Larksong was the only place she and Garrett stood any chance at happiness. Mixed marriages may be legal in some states, but none of them idealized it, let alone encouraged it. It was the only reason they had kept their intimate correspondence hidden from his brothers. Not that they wouldn't approve, for they loved them both, but for the fact that it confined them quite completely to Larksong's boundaries. Until recently, Garrett had always been rather a free spirit. She supposed she wanted to make sure he had safely settled before they broke the news. If, when he returned, there was even news to break.